AITAH for thinking my boyfriend of over a year is cheating on me with my older sister? Posted by you/no_inspection_2557. Using a random old account because this isn't the stuff I usually post on my main. This whole thing spans over a few months, so stay with me on this, it is kinda long. I, 20F, and my boyfriend, 29M, I will call him Ryan, have been together for about a year and a half now, and up until recently I always trusted him, maybe blindly and naively looking back on it. I started losing that trust a few months ago when an ex of his, I will call her Anna, found me on Instagram and DM'd me what was basically the dreaded "hey girly" text. I knew about Anna because they were pretty serious in college, and he and his mom had both told me stories about her. I was told by Ryan that they ended their long-term relationship because they wanted different things with life. He said she wanted to settle down and he wasn't ready. I believed him, but Anna told me that they actually broke up because, after 4 years together and talking about marriage, she found out he had been cheating on her almost the whole time with no remorse. Apparently, they had rekindled some time about a year before, and Anna thought he had grown as a person, so they were considering meeting up and possibly getting back together until he randomly ghosted her. She found my account through his and pieced together by our photos that I was the reason he ghosted her. She provided multiple screenshots, and the timestamps are all during the same time frame me and him started talking. He was talking to us both and entertaining us both up until the same day he asked me to make things official. I don't know why she didn't tell me sooner or if she had just found out, but I never asked even now because I don't know if I even want to know more. I thanked her, and I did confront him with this almost immediately. He was honest, but I think that was only because I had the proof right there in front of us. He admitted that he was talking to both of us and another girl because he was single then and he had the right to. When I pointed out that I told him I wasn't talking to anyone else very early on in our talking stage and he could have told me then, or better yet, stop talking to these other women if he thought we were so serious, he got very defensive and said that I was making this out to be something it wasn't and said I was acting like he was a cheater. The fact that he brought up cheating first is telling to me now, even though I didn't think of it in the moment. I know he did not technically cheat on me, but it still feels disrespectful that he not only did it but didn't even think to tell me throughout our whole relationship. This opened my eyes to some massive red flags that just seemed to keep popping up, and eventually they were all I could see about him. I still love him despite how stupid that sounds. Even now as I am typing this, I still hope I am so very wrong, even though I do not think I am. But I need other opinions because I feel crazy. My sister, 25F, who I will call Jane, just went through a nasty breakup 3 months ago and had to move back home with my parents to get back on her feet. Instead of hiring a moving company and wasting that money, she just asked our brother, 23M, to use his truck and have the family help her move. Of course we did, but I felt like we needed some more help, so I stupidly invited Ryan to come and help us. Ryan had never met my sister before then, but as soon as they started talking, I felt like a third wheel. They have more in common, which I should have expected with them being closer in age than me and him. I ignored it at first and tried to convince myself I was glad they were getting along, but the way he looked at her when we left later that night and the way she said goodbye, like there was more behind the words, filled me with jealousy. It wasn't even a full week later that it started getting weirder. Ryan made a comment in the middle of a date night about how mature my sister is, which, if you talk to this woman at all, anyone can tell she is the opposite of mature. So I know this was some type of dig because I have always been self-conscious of our age gap. I have even said the words "I wish I was more mature" to him before. My mood was ruined after this because it made no sense to me why he was even thinking of Jane. I was already upset and on edge, so I tried to end our night early, but he was following me around his apartment and yelling at me that I was acting insecure and didn't trust him. I let it slip that I hadn't trusted him for a while, and he asked me what the point of our relationship was if I could not trust him. After some back and forth, with me saying he needed to work to regain my trust and him saying I was blaming him for stuff he can't change, I ended up leaving because he would not stop and I wanted to sleep. I went to my parents' place because they were closer and it was already late, so I crashed there. My mom, of course, was curious why, and I broke down and explained everything to her, minus the Jane details because I knew she would be listening and she was. I was a crying mess by the end, but my mom said she thought I was being paranoid and jumping to conclusions based on his past. I called Ryan, and to his credit, he did pick up quickly. I told him I was sorry, but now I feel like a pushover because, looking back on it, I was not the one who needed to apologize. Jane even came down and comforted me herself, which is rare because she usually only cares for herself. I should have seen this as a sign, but I was too caught up thinking my sister finally cared about me. For a while, everything was okay after. When I got back to his place, he apologized for yelling and said he hated seeing me leave and even asked me to move in with him. I hadn't decided yet, but I was stupidly considering saying yes. Everything felt too good to be true, and I was tired of feeling crazy, so I just started trying to accept that I might have paranoia issues when everything was basically confirmed for me. In the middle of the night, like a month and a half after Jane moved back, almost 4 in the morning, Ryan was on the phone with her. I caught him in his living room basically whispering into his phone. I was already suspicious and angry before I even knew who it was and asked him, instead of doing the smart thing and listening into whatever they were talking about, because I still do not know what their late-night conversations were about. He didn't even try to hide it. He admitted to me that he and Jane had been talking for weeks and were becoming close friends. He said he didn't tell me because he knew how I would react, and that he was worried I would think the worst. Hearing him say that felt so demeaning because it told me he knew how I would feel and what it would look like, but did it anyway. I was too angry to even have a conversation with him, so I locked myself in the bedroom until it was light out, ignoring him and Jane, who spammed my phone with explanations. As soon as I could, I left his apartment with as much of my stuff as I could carry. I vented to my mom about this on the phone, only to find out that it was my own mother who gave Ryan's phone number to my sister that night I crashed at their house, because she apparently wanted to get to know him better. My mom keeps saying that she is being a good sister and looking out for me by making sure he is good enough, but I do not believe it. The timing is too weird. She finds out my boyfriend has a history of cheating, and that's when she wants his number? If she truly was just trying to make sure he was good for me, she would not have felt the need to go behind my back to get Ryan's number, and would she not have done that in the beginning? And she did not do that with either of my previous relationships. For some context about how my mom acts towards Jane, my sister has always been spoiled rotten. She is my parents' favorite and didn't hear the word no from them if they could help it. In my parents' eyes, my mom's especially, she can do no wrong. Even though Jane is one of the rudest people I know, my mom still sees her as her baby. My mom keeps trying to get me to accept that she is just going through a hard time and needs a good friend like Ryan, who takes care of her, but that just makes me more livid because why should my boyfriend be responsible for the heavy lifting of my sister's life? She is a grown adult who could go to therapy for her problems. She shouldn't need to call my boyfriend about them in the middle of the night. Last week was my final straw. I found out through my brother that Ryan and Jane have been regularly meeting up at bars for weeks now, even after the big fight about them calling in the night, going on what Jane calls friend dates. The cherry on top is that she specifically told my brother not to tell me. He told me almost immediately, and I finally broke. There is no good excuse for my boyfriend to be regularly seeing my sister behind my back, so I finally confronted them. I waited at my apartment and called them both to come, and the looks on their faces when they realized they were both there made my stomach churn. I didn't mention knowing about their little dates because I wanted to see if they would dig themselves into a hole, and that is exactly what they did. They both said they barely interact off the phone, and when they did it wasn't planned, it just happened. I let them say their whole spiel before simply dropping, "So you ended up at the same bar multiple weekends in a row for friend dates on accident?" When I used her own words, I saw on her face that she knew I knew. They tried to say it was nothing weird, and they both adamantly denied anything happening during those friend dates, but I feel it in my gut that they are lying about that too since they can so easily lie to me about everything else. Ryan said they were just hanging out as friends, but once they lied to my face about them, I knew they were more than friendly hangouts. I have no hard evidence of anything going on past these dates, and even if nothing physical has happened, he is at least emotionally cheating on me with her. They let me feel like a crazy paranoid girlfriend, trying to make me feel like I was seeing things while manipulating me, and him having the nerve to ask me to move in with him while doing this. I have not spoken to either of them or my mom since, because I can't help but think my mom knew. What I keep thinking of that hurts most is that had Anna not told me he had a past of being a cheater, I would probably be thinking he's such a nice guy, helping and befriending my sister, and they all would have let me stay in the dark. They have not stopped trying to contact me, and I have gotten multiple voicemails from my mom that I am sure are defending them, so I can't even bring myself to listen to them. I have no idea what I am supposed to do now or how to go about this. I didn't technically break it off with Ryan, and I do not know how to. I fully believe he was trying to trap me in his life by asking me to move in, and now I am honestly a little scared of what else he could try to keep me around. My brother said he would gladly break it to him for me, but I don't know if that is the mature thing to do, and I keep having to beat myself up mentally for missing him. Am I jumping to conclusions like my mom thinks, or does it seem like he is emotionally cheating with my own sister? /relevant comments. Commenter. "Oh honey, why on earth are you with this man? He's showing zero interest in being receptive to your concerns and in maintaining an element of trust and openness. Even if there is nothing unsavory between him and your sister, do you really want to be with someone who sneaks behind your back and humiliates you? The one thing that's still uncertain is whether he's physically or emotionally involved with her. The sneaking around is factual. It doesn't matter what they do together. What matters is that neither of them has your back, respects you, or cares about maintaining a proper, honest relationship with you, deflecting and belittling all your concerns. Is this the kind of dynamic you want to waste your 20s on? Cut your losses and move on. Also, I get that not all age gaps are inherently problematic, but the fact that he be dating someone a decade his junior, and acting like that, is sketchy AF. Just saying. High chance of him going after younger girls and telling them how mature they are because someone with less lived experience is easier to lie to, belittle, and manipulate. Update 4 days later. I decided to cut ties with Ryan, and I have gone no contact with my sister and my mom. The day after I posted my initial post, I took some of you guys' advice and broke it off with Ryan through a careful text that said, more or less, I do not believe nothing happened between you and my sister, and I won't stay in a relationship with someone who would break my trust like that. Even if nothing happened, you lied to me about seeing her, went behind my back to be with her, and hurt me all for someone you barely know, for someone I am supposed to be able to trust. I do not want you to text or call me, and I do not want to see you again. My brother will be coming to get anything of mine you still have when he can. I wanted the text to be direct and fast so he couldn't try to twist my words. He still responded, saying he only wanted to be with me, was sorry he hurt me, and that he didn't mean to break my trust. So I silenced his contact and put my phone on DND for now. I know he has still been texting. I just refuse to even look at them. Some comments said not to block him fully just in case he goes too far and I need documentation, so I am following that advice until I think I am in the clear. My sister showed up at my apartment unannounced after this, and I am positive he told her about my text. I talked to her outside because I wanted to see if I could get more information out of her but didn't want her in my apartment. While she was begging me to forgive her, I said I would if she told me the truth. And I was pretty much right. She confessed that they both talked about being attracted to each other, and about what they would do together if I wasn't in the picture on those late-night phone calls. The farthest it went was talking about getting a hotel room for a weekend to act on this, which she claims Ryan shot down, but I do not believe that. She said nothing physical ever happened and they went on those friend dates to live out a fantasy they were never going to act on, which I think is BS. She said she was the one pushing for them to go further, but he never crossed the line, but I do not care. They were leading up to cheating physically if they haven't already, and in my eyes, they already did cheat. They were basically sexting or having phone sex or whatever the F while I was asleep in the next room, and her trying to justify that makes me feel sick. I told her I was likely not going to talk to her ever again, and she went from begging to being angry and calling me a liar almost immediately. So I just went back up to my apartment to avoid doing something I would regret. I also finally listened to my mom's voicemails, and they were, in fact, defending Jane. I called her, told her what Jane admitted, and asked if she knew. She said she didn't know and thought they really were just friends but still thinks I am being too hard on Jane. She thinks I should be more angry at Ryan since he made the commitment to me, and Jane will be my sister for life. I believe her that she didn't know about everything, but I can't even find the words to describe how I feel about her expecting me to just forgive Jane. I also do not believe she told the full story, but I have no idea how I would find out more while also avoiding them like the plague, like I want to. I have not spoken to them since, but they have pretty much brought the whole family into this to try and convince me to reconsider. I could tell they were just repeating what my mom or Jane told them, but I still made it clear to them that I would also be going no contact with anyone who tried to convince me to talk to them before I am ready, and my brother helped back me up on this. My brother has been very supportive in all of this and is probably all that is going to get me through this. He plans to go to Ryan's tomorrow to get some stuff I left there, and he is actually going to be staying with me because I do have a spare key to my apartment at Ryan's place. We are also both ready to call the cops if he tries to do so much as keep one thing from me. My brother was ready to fight him, but I told him not to because I don't want him getting in trouble for my relationship problems, especially since I blame myself for not noticing this sooner. Some of these comments were the harsh kick I needed to realize I needed to stop doubting myself here. I was acting into the exact parts of myself he manipulated and maybe sought out when getting with me in the first place. Other comments were some great advice that really helped me, and I really appreciate those especially. For those of you pointing out how great my brother is, he has always been one of the best people I know and is my best friend. He really is an amazing guy to everyone, not just me. Our sister has kind of always been our biggest bully, so he knows how she can be, and even he is surprised she went this far. He also agrees with me they might be more together than they're saying. He never liked or trusted Ryan and didn't like us dating because of the age gap long before I realized he is a piece of crap. I should have considered that a while ago. I do not understand why or how I was so blind. I showed him this post earlier today because he frequents Reddit and was likely going to see it eventually. He read through the comments, and I actually had to stop him from responding to some of the ruder ones he thought were uncalled for, but I am even grateful for a lot of the harsh comments too because they definitely made me stop second-guessing myself and made me realize I was letting this man make me act like an idiot. Before I wrap this up, I also wanted to say just because a lot of the comments mentioned it, I do recognize how weird the age gap was. I know it does not make a big difference, but I will be 21 in December and Ryan has only been 29 for almost 2 months now. Our relationship did not seem or feel creepy in the start, but I have only dated 2 people before Ryan, and they were both the same age as me, so I know I missed the signs. I never thought I would be in a relationship with that big of an age gap until it happened, and I didn't even expect it to last as long as it did in the beginning. I plan to not date for a while and just focus on getting past all the anger and everything I am still feeling. Whenever I do start dating, it will not be with someone that much older, and I will definitely be more cautious no matter the age. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I am so sorry. I read your first post, and I could feel your pain. I feel it more deeply now. Your brother really is freaking amazing. Your mother really is freaking awful. There aren't words for how freaking awful Jane and Ryan are. Jane is far and away the biggest scumbag of the 2. She was your sister. Stick to your brother, I love that man so much. Please tell him how freaking wonderful he is. I would never forgive your sister, and your mother would have to change her tune massively before I would forgive her. As for the family flying monkeys, take control of the narrative. They've probably been sold a distorted version of what happened. Tell your truth, and then state your boundaries and see how things fall. I bet you money it hasn't gone unnoticed what your mom and sister have always been like. Ops response. I'm sure they were told some other story, but I did tell them my side of the story when I said I would go no contact with them too if they pushed the idea. I have not heard from them, so I don't know what side they're taking, if either. My sister has always been a master of twisting people's words, so I am honestly trying to talk as little about it with anyone other than my brother and Reddit. Commenter. What you do now will affect your family for years. I honestly recommend you at least message each family member individually or as a group, reiterating what happened and asking them how they would react. Repeat your no contact threat, and then see what people say. If they have any insight, then they're hopefully already questioning what they've been told. But you are on a hill I would die on. Ops response. My brother and I texted the extended family my mom and Jane brought into this about the situation, and they were told a watered-down BS story. When they told me to reconsider, it was because Jane had told them I was assuming what happened and wouldn't let her explain. I don't think my mom had anything to do with coming up with the lie, but she definitely let them believe it. Now there is a giant back and forth going on that I am doing my best to stay out of for my own sake, but my brother is making sure my feelings get heard and that my sister can't lie more. Commenter 2. About the only thing I can add to what others have said is the observation that you don't mention your father. Is he alive? If so, from your silence, I would guess that he is either staying out of this, or that he enables your mother and sister on a routine basis. Ops response. My dad has always been on a short leash from my mom. I have never been close with my dad, and then I moved out practically on my 18th birthday because that is what he wanted. So it's a strained relationship. He hasn't said anything, but I am not surprised by that because we never really talk past birthday texts and holidays. I'm sure he is on their side, whether he thinks what they did was right or not, because he's worse at standing up for himself than I am. Second update 2 days later. I'm going to update this, even though it is kind of anticlimactic. My brother was able to get my things from Ryan pretty easily, but he did try to keep my key by saying he didn't know where it was. It has been in the same place since I started staying over, but my brother got it from him after some threats. That confirmed to me that I was right to be scared he would do something if I was alone. He tried to get my brother to pass on another apology that was basically the exact same BS he has said every other time, so nothing new there. My brother and I finally had a good laugh at how dense he is, and we really needed that. My mom and Jane are both blocked. Ryan is not yet, because I am still worried I will need to go to the cops with the text he has sent after I told him to stay away. I explained this in a comment on my first update, but I want to say it here too. The extended family that tried to get me to talk to Jane were lied to. Jane told them I was assuming and wouldn't let her explain herself, but my brother and I made sure they knew the truth. Now everything has blown up. They are not directly defending me, but I don't expect them to. I'm just happy they know the truth. Jane texted my brother to tell me she and Ryan have not talked since then, and she deleted his number to get me back in her life. If that is true, I think it is more because everyone except my parents sees her for who she is now. Also, that should have already happened if nothing was going on between them. They stayed in contact the whole week I was trying to figure out if I was crazy, and that alone is disrespectful. My brother agreed to help me snoop for more evidence at some point when we are ready. We are both going to be taking a giant step back from this whole thing for now, because I do not want my brother to be suffocated with them trying to contact me through him. We are going to ignore it all weekend as if it is not happening and just do stuff that makes us happy, since it is clear we are all we've got. If there is more to add to this, I will come back to this account and add it. As of now, I have nothing more. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. If I may ask, what things is Ryan saying that might make you need to get the cops involved? I'm assuming the generic "you're mine even if you don't consent, you're not leaving/breaking up with me," and violent threats? I only ask because that info is just a bit out of the blue. I mean, him lying about the key says all we needed to know. Ops response. I don't think he has crossed any lines that make me want to go to the cops yet. I'm just keeping that option there because I read it in a few comments warning me to do this because of the situation. I don't know the full extent of his text because I have not actually opened his contacts since I silenced it, just for my own mental health, but when I open the Messages app I can still see some of whatever the most recent thing he sent is. It got more aggressive and went from starting like, "Can we talk? Can we meet? I want to see you," to stuff like, "This can't happen this way. This can't end this way, and I need you over and over since my brother got my stuff," which really creeps me out. Also, just the fact that he kept texting me after I told him not to is unsettling. Commenter. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry. It makes sense, though. He got to have his cake and eat it too, and now that he can't, he's panicking. I can't imagine why, for the life of me, your sister would blow up your relationship this way. Even worse that your ex chose your sister, of all people, to cheat with. But I totally understand exes and crappy excuses. My first ex cheated on me with his ex. He hooked up with her the day before he asked us to be official, and his exact words were, "I wanted to get the hoe out before getting serious." Then he continued to mess around with her the entirety of our relationship. The best part? He texted me for years after we broke up, asking to still hook up or go out while he was actively dating other women. Some men are truly scum. Ops response. My sister has always been a very selfish person, but I never would have thought this would happen. The sad thing is that now, because of them, I'm going to be wondering, is he cheating, or would he cheat? With everyone. I'm gonna need to take some time to find out how to love and trust again, because I can't even see how I'm ever gonna be okay trusting someone like that ever again.